Happy Wednesday. How's it going? All right, we're back to do something. Probably game dev related. Hey, Rig. How's it going? Got a lovely green colored username today. It's really nice. Hey, Rhiannon Journey. How's everyone doing today? All right. So, where we left off yesterday. Hey, Amanda. How's it going? Nice to see you. All right, so yesterday we fixed some crucial issues, but we kind of spotted some other ones that are maybe a little more fundamental, which is like if we build something, and like we take it and we copy it. So we've got our copy. It won't let us cut. Well, one thing is this cutaway. The cutaway is kind of awkward. It's trying to cut away the the corner of this piece that we're trying to. So that's a little bit weird. We might need to make it so that this is immune to the cutaway. Like whatever your clipboard is or brush or whatever you want to call it. The other thing is that if I've got this, like I've copied this into my clipboard, and then I try to do anything else, like if I try to select, it lets me select this because it is part, and then that just breaks everything because it's like it just starts to go crazy. So we need to stop that shortcut. And it degenerates really quickly after that. So we need to stop you from being able to do something. We need to, I think the core thing we need to do is change. We have like the active block tool, which is the thing that you just pick. Like these things in the top right corner, these are your active block tools, and it's like floor, wall, floor and wall, door. We need to treat these, and the clipboard is basically the same thing. So you could almost add something from the clipboard to this list if you wanted. I don't know how we would display that, but we need something like that. We need to treat them as the same, because right now we already have a process for handling like what happens if you're placing stuff and then you switch to selecting. But we don't have that for the clipboard, for the copy-paste workflow, so let's do that. A clipboard icon. Yeah, something like that. That's not a bad idea, Rig. So that you can get back to the clipboard if you're done. If you switch to something else and you want to switch back to the clipboard, that's not a bad idea. Amanda, it reminds you of building houses in The Sims back in the day, the original game. Yeah, it is aesthetically similar to that. I kind of want to switch to a cutaway system that's more like that, that's like room-based. Actually, I guess the old Sims cutaway system was the whole house. You would take out the walls of the entire house. I don't know if I want to go that far. Oh, we have someone. We have someone who seems nice but is also likely a spam bot. I'm going to ignore them. Deny. Thanks, AutoMod. I was ready to blast him with a photon torpedo, but the AutoMod took care of it for me. So let's do that. Let's change how this active block tool thing works. Because right now the active block tool can only be a single block. and a clipboard is an array of blocks. I think I want to make these basically the same. I mean, we can obviously store the clipboard somewhere separate. We could also say the active block tool is the block.clip, but I don't want to add something to the block. Because, like, the other thing is the clipboard might not be empty. You might have something in the clipboard, but you might not want to use it right now. In which case, yeah, Rig's idea of, like, a clipboard icon. Clipboard. All right. Maybe we just make a clipboard icon. Maybe that's how we start today. Today off. We just make a clipboard icon. We can probably... It's going to need to be pretty simple. It can be... At most, it can be 32 by 32, I think. So let's see. Let's make a 32 by 32. Let's index it. Let's load. We need to change what our default palette is. Our default palette is the palette we're using during Ludum Dare. High sat, low sat. Let's just go with low sat expanded. So in general, it's going to look something like rectangle, and then it'll be like the board and then the clip. That seems to be universal. Let's see if we can draw that in a way that's satisfying or believable or whatever. Doesn't really look like anything. Should I have, like, details? Like they've got here. Should maybe be thicker. Like this. Hello, Dumbass Island. That is quite a name. I guess I should do... The top of the clipboard is usually circular, so I should probably do that. Should probably be like... Kind of go expanded a bit like this. Could also round the edges a little bit. Maybe try to make a bottom corner of the paper on the clip folded. We're working on adding whatever's in the clipboard to our little palette list right now. For our little editor tool here. I wonder what would be intuitive. Because we don't really have room to show the whole thing. It just looks like an iPad. Oh, I see what you mean about the folded corner. That's like too much, but I think that, oh, maybe it's not too much.
Maximum warp.
Something like that. Hey, no, Jewel. You started learning Godot recently? You're playing around with 3D multiplayer? Oh, okay. That's off the deep end right there, but that's cool. Do you have a multiplayer game experience in like a different engine? As far as I understand, multiplayer in Godot is pretty intuitive. I have not messed with multiplayer in Godot because I'm like a solo dev and it is very intimidating to attempt to do something like that. Where am I going to put this? Probably in the UI. UI editor. Call this clipboard. Clipboard icon. I might change the music. I was playing cinematic music when we started. It's getting a little silly. All right, yeah, this is reasonable as at least as a first step, I think. Maybe we UI editor clipboard icon. So we would need to make a new palette block. So we make a new one. Probably make this a couple rows now. Column 16. That's not right. And we just make this last one clipboard. I feel weird saying your name over and over again. I feel like I'm Red from like that 70s show. Dumbass. Dumbass Island, it needs to happen. You just graduated with Gary's mod. You're working on a standalone game now. Okay. You managed to get someone to direct connect to a server you were hosting. Okay. Trying to get your head around a class-based item system, but don't have a complete grasp of nodes. Oh yeah, nodes are very cool. They're very strong. The whole node is a scene, and a scene is a node. That relationship between the two things is like very powerful. People have definitely gotten node-based item systems. For my game, I have the simulation happening outside of the scene tree. I have much lighter weight simulation objects. But doing it as nodes is definitely cool. A friend of mine actually just put out a plugin for Godot that's like a pickler. It's like a way of sending custom resource data across the network securely. It's kind of he has multiplayer games in mind for that sort of thing. There's definitely some good tools for doing that available. I'm actually going to Godotcon Boston next week, and I might end up at a workshop about doing multiplayer in Godot. So at the moment, I don't know a ton about multiplayer in Godot, but this time next week, I hope to know a lot more. Dumbass Island, you haven't done anything outside of nodes just yet. Would I recommend it? I'd say start with nodes. I'd say start with the intended workflow, understand that workflow, and then if you need to diverge from it, that's when you do it. All right, I could say, well, active block tool is a block. This is awkward. And then when do I change? How do I handle the changing of the block tool here? So your script here, so you've got your block params, block form. So you're a string. And there's a block face record. Okay, so we just send it as a string, so we could process it pretty easily. So your block form is actually like a clip. And then your picture is going to be palette button group. Where's the textures? Oh, I need more than one texture. I need a bunch of different textures. Actually, let's leave those for now. We'll swap this one. No, not that. How did I accidentally do that? Load. UI. Editor. Clipboard icon. I don't love this, but it's okay for the moment. I should probably change the paper color a little bit, because it's actually not going to work with the selection thing. It's probably more in line. It doesn't look like paper though. Actually, I want to make this like slight, yeah, shade higher. There we go. Like that. All right, that's better. It's more aesthetically matching what we've got going on here. You'll subscribe and check in occasionally? Yeah, I'd appreciate that. We also have a Discord. If you have Godot questions, me and the community there would be happy to help. But thanks for tuning in. Sorry if I'm kind of distracted. So we actually need to... How many versions of this do we need for this purpose? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How am I currently handling that? Sprite, cubes, doors. Oh, we should put this in here. All right. We're going to move some files around here real quick. Let's move these over here. Oh, wait. Oh, no, that's right. Okay. Yeah, I got it right. Yeah, I think the file should be there. All right. Let's take a look here. All right, so open file, palette, sprite. Let's look at how I've got these set up. I have these set up as different files. Oh, and I did them all at once. I see. Well, this one I'm gonna specify by region, so I think I'm just gonna do this once. I'll make 5 of them, so I need this to be bigger. How big is this? 20 by 27. Move this up a little. Oh, so yeah, there's Rice and Bagham is actually our local Godot meetup group. I was talking about this channel's Discord, but yeah, there's also another Godot group. That one you can just Google search for and you'll find. In the Noisebridge server, probably. Can I get 5 here? Yeah, I was shamelessly plugging my Discord. But whatever works. All right, that's close enough. All right, so we need to make 5 variants of this, and it needs to match up with these. So like, so here we've got the regular, we've got pressed, hover. So hover is lighter, pressed is lighter with an outline, hover is just lighter, disabled is darker, focused is just the outline. Okay. Dumbass Island, you're Melt in the Discord. All right, I might start calling you Melt. It was cool. Thank you. Nice having you here. See you around. Ryzen, you wish you had a local Godot community? We're all Midwestern Sag. Yeah. That is unfortunate. One of the few benefits of living in a very major metropolitan area, I guess. So, outline. Transparent mask. So there's outline only. Here's outline. And it needs to be lighter. Okay. So instead of these colors, we'll pick these colors. And this one's going to be darker. So that should be sufficient for this. I should be able to specify a texture region. What? Load. UI, editor, block, palette, sprite. Here we go. So we can do this. And can I specify a... Oh, so what I need to do, I can't actually just load the raw texture. I need to say a new Atlas texture. Atlas. Load. Quick load. No. Load. This is a nice way to start the stream. Just kind of some easy stuff before we tackle some more complex things here. Clipboard. And then now we can specify the region, which is width, I don't know, 24. X region 4, 2. There we go. And now we can just do the same thing for all of these. I don't like doing this with an Atlas texture, but I also need to make this more automated for most of these, because I'm not going to be able to manually, I'm not going to want to manually make this palette, this button thing for each thing I create. Hey, Diginanigans. Yeah, it's a nice day today here. Got a few people. Nice and early. It's Wednesday. How are you doing today? All right, so this is going to be still 24, but it's going to be 26. Yeah, there we go. We're setting up a clipboard icon in the palette so that we can go away, so that we can stop with the clipboard, whatever the clipboard thing is, and then we can reselect the clipboard. So if we change our mind and we want to do something else first, we can then go back to whatever's in our clipboard. 26 plus 24 plus 2. 52.
He's dead, Jim.
Maybe just 50. 49. Okay. He is dead, Jim. Hey, JD. How are you doing? JD does dev in the house. We're just setting up an additional piece to our palette here. Our palette selector. I wish I had the click mask set up, but I'm going to need... That's also going to be a pain in the butt, and that's going to be something we want to generate. Hey. Yeah, we're doing good. Having a quiet one today, I think. We're just working on some editor tools. Godotcon is next week. So I should be focused on getting my editor tool into like the best possible shape to like show off. But I'm not sweating it. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. I'm just excited to go and absorb the knowledge. Just signed up for my workshops. 98. All right, so that's all the states for this button, this clipboard button. I think for now, I am going to put it as the 5th column here. And I'll probably make this a little bigger. I'll probably just make this a little bigger so we don't have to scroll around. This looks really dumb. I need to like add some more details to it. It also like violates our perspective. What if I redrew this in perspective? Because I kind of hate it. This is like not what I should be spending my time on. And yet here we are. You're deciding, and by deciding, you're trying to justify the cost of lodging. It's expensive out there. Oh, yeah. I ended up booking an Airbnb with some friends. But yeah, it's definitely expensive. Especially if you're trying to do it last minute. But yeah, that'd be cool. It'd be cool to see you there if you go. All right, so the idea is that we're going to do this in perspective here. To make it look less terrible. I might even number them eventually so that you can have multiple things in your clipboard. I kind of want to have the clipboard like show through as kind of like, maybe that's good enough. Okay, so let's add the clip part as a start here. What's the clip gonna look like in perspective? It's a little tricky. Not sure I'm good enough to draw this in perspective. Getting there. Let's try to get the corner. This should also be in perspective, I guess. Yeah, maybe not. You'd think the clipboard would actually exceed the piece of paper. So it might be more like this. I want to draw it in dimetric just because it's gonna better match our look here. So do I make... I also probably want to put like numbers on it so you could have more than one thing in the clipboard. We could also do something else. Instead of a clipboard, we could try to draw like a blueprint or a schematic or something like that. I don't know. I don't love whatever's going on here. I want to tackle the clip again. Maybe the clip is not the outline color. It should be though. Maybe the clip has an outline. That's not terrible. It's not good, but it's not terrible. That's worse. Maybe it does need a color. Yeah, it's better. It's way better with the color. That's passable. Still kind of trash, but it's passable. Rig, you pinged me with an idea for the clipboard. I'll take it. I'll take it. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's subtler. Maybe you're right. Maybe what we need to do is retain the look of this. Get rid of this. Keep it clean like this. Maintain the silhouette. That's better. That's better. Not try to mess with the thing of like the clip going above. You're saying the clip terminates flush with the outline of the board at the back. I like that. I like that a lot better. Okay, this is good enough for now. I do like this more than this monstrosity. I do like this better. We could conceivably throw this out one further so that it's like that. We could also conceivably do is I don't like that as much. The little edge kind of violates the perspective, but I think it's more clear what it's doing than not. The only other option would be to make it really small like this. But I don't think I like that. It does minimize the impact on the... Oh, maybe I do like that, because it minimizes the impact of the weird perspective difference. What if it's like this, though? play a little more with the perspective. I think that might just be making it unclear. Yeah, that's just making it unclear. We could soften this angle, though, still. Yeah, no, who cares? This is good enough for now. But yeah, eventually we could put numbers. So, like, let me go grab our alphabet. Actually, I can just do it here. So it would be something like... You could be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. Could even be bigger. Put that in the... well, it would need to be in the right spot, but... Something like that. I don't like the tangent here, but something like that. But right now, we'll just have the one clipboard piece. Maybe that's what I do. Yeah. Okay, I like that. All right, acceptable. Side on. We'll call this perspective. Call it dimetric. Now we just need to color it multiple times. All right, good enough. So color-wise, they need to be this set of colors. So this needs to be darker. So we'll make the clipboard darker. What's the color difference I want to be here? Let's do the lightest one first, which is this one in the middle. So it can't be that color because that's the outline color. could be this here, this here, this here, this here. There's not enough distinction there. Something like that. This is the lightest one. It's kind of weird. And what's the darkest one? That's acceptable. Oh, this should actually be this color. All right, so then the regular one will be that's the disabled one. This is the regular one here. I'm gonna add a little more contrast. There we go. And then this one is the one that's gonna be just the outline. Then we take this one, put it here, take this, add this over, hope that it's still vaguely readable. That's okay. And then this is going to be at rest. Oops, I kind of blew this. All right, let's see how we like that. It's more in line with the rest of the art, so that's acceptable. I probably want some little squigglies. Like something on the paper. Like... something like this. Yeah, something like that. Kind of weird that it looks wrong, even though it's very much not. What if we faked it a little bit and did like this? That's also very wrong. Do we just want more? Do we want like this? Does that look better? And then maybe we can add some gaps so we can like... something like that. Or is it better to be an unbroken line? There's probably too many, too close together. We could probably get away with less. Although, I don't know. I think that looks okay. The 2442 looks a lot better. Thanks to shenanigans. It seems like it's better. What about the 3 spacing? I think the 3 spacing is better. I'm actually not sold on that. I think the tight spacing is actually an improvement. For whatever reason, the extra 2 on the side, it made the angle look different. Yeah, I know. It's interesting because it was correct. I mean, this is still technically the correct perspective. But it's interesting that without that continuation, it looks wrong. It looked too flat. Perspective is weird, man. What I should do now is technically correct, the best kind of correct. Yeah. That's one of those things, it's like, in games, when the technically correct encounter, like when facts encounter feels, I think unless you have a very good reason, I think the feels should generally win. Obviously, there are exceptions to that, but I think in general, feel trumps fact when it comes to game design. Oh, we got a spam bot over on Twitch. I was upset when the auto mod dealt with the spam bot last time, but this one's ours. Load the photon torpedoes. Fire. We got him. All right, I think this is good. This is reasonable. Could be better. The paper texture color, I don't know if I agree with my choice to make it like kind of dark. Just so that it's distinct from the outline color. On YouTube? No, it was on Twitch. Spam bots are only ever on Twitch. I think the thing is you can't see them because I think they end up getting auto-modded to an extent, but I still like to ban them. It's still fun to ban them, even if their message isn't showing up. Okay, yeah, that's a lot better. What I do need to do is I need to widen this a little bit for now. And you know I'm like super good super good at using control nodes. Diginanigans. Field trumps fact when it benefits the player in a non-PvP scenario. Never cheat fact for feel if it hinders the player. Yeah. I guess a competitive game is a different beast, and one that I typically don't have to deal with. I'm usually in the world I exist in, I'm in like the Slay the Spire, like degeneracy is good. Like it's good when the player can break the game. Oh. That little change is a little weird. That's fine. I know why that's happening. Love when you end up doing some little simple addition in your head and you don't actually do it. You kind of just do it on the stack and it ends up being right. You just like stack up some numbers, get a number. It's the right number. All right, so that's cool. So we've got our little clipboard tool. We've got our clipboard selection. So now we can go back to the clipboard. That's reasonably satisfying. Glad we put that in perspective. That's a good thing to note for the future for when we're doing UI elements. Or at least UI elements that are like aligned with or coexisting with in-game elements like this. We'll have to have a behavior for what happens when you pick the clipboard. Maybe the clipboard is disabled when it's empty. That could be the way we do that. Because we do have a disabled version. The real question is, can you still select it when it's disabled? Disabled. I'm just going to disable this and then see if we can select it. I went to go like this song and I already did. Okay, so you can't select the clipboard when it's grayed out like that. I feel like it should be darker. That's fun. We're getting quicker at mocking up little art pieces. That's new for us. Historically, we're quite bad at doing that sort of thing. The margin here is a little off, but that's okay. I could probably tighten that up here if I specified the region to be smaller. How perfect? Okay, they're like really perfect. Yeah, so I'm just gonna tighten this up. Yeah, so it sits with the same margin as everything else. All right, that's good. Now it's evenly spaced. And now we could actually probably change this a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so what next? We need to work on the behavior. And in fact, this might need its own script. It might need its own version of this script. Maybe it doesn't. What I want to do is make it so that if the clipboard is empty, this button is disabled. But the question is, where does that behavior need to be? Probably in the block palette. So that's a game input thing that we should actually have recorded here. Public, bool, clipboard, empty. How did that happen? There we go. And so what we can do here, why are there errors all of a sudden? Why are we just covered in errors? Oh, did I delete something? I did. That's why that happened. Well, why are you doing that? Stupid writer. So what we could do here is we could say, this is unfortunate, but this might be how we do this. We could say, if input dot oh yeah, no, this is fine. We could say if input dot clipboard empty. Now we just need to know who to talk to. So we have the board. What we need is the UI. Or we could just talk straight to the palette. Let's just talk straight to the palette. Private node. I need a better system than this. Right now, getting information back across the boundary, back to the nodes is like kind of onerous. But that's because I haven't come up with a proper system. I've just been kind of hacking it together. We're gonna say palette dot We're going to say disable clipboard. Actually, we could just do this differently. We're just going to say palette. We're going to say palette.call. Set clipboard. Button. We're going to say game.input.clipboard empty. What we need to do here, though, is we need to specify palette equals get node unique block palette. We need to make the block palette unique. This actually, I don't know. I don't know how we're going to handle loading and unloading scenes based on game state. The block editor itself might go away when we're not in block editor mode. In which case we need to call the UI, and so we need to tell the UI to set the clipboard, and then the UI can ignore it if the game state is not such that you would want to do that. Actually, we could just also do that here. We could say if state. How do I do this? How do I want to query the state? I have that in another script. Game.state. State stack? Oh, peak state. We would say if peak state state dot edit. So we'll peek this game state, and if we're in edit mode, then we'll call this. It's probably a better way to do that later, but dereference of a possible null reference. Seems unlikely. Oh, I need the exclamation mark. Okay, that should be fine. Now we need to do now we need to make a set clipboard button function, which means we need to make a block palette script. Set clipboard button. Bool. Value. So what we're going to do here this only really works if there's a single clipboard, but that's fine for right now. We're going to say clipboard dot disabled equals value. Easy. Let's start with the clipboard disabled. Let's see if we can enable this clipboard by adding something to it. So right now it's disabled. If I do... Oh, I'm unable to do anything. Oh, we have a ton of errors. Object reference not sent to an instance of an object. Oh, I never made the block palette unique. That would explain it. All right, no errors this time. So what if I... Okay, so this is enabled right now. I don't love that. It should be disabled to start. Oh, it needs to be the opposite of value. I don't love that, but that's how I've described it. I could say empty. Not empty. There we go. That is more... That's still not great. We could say clipboard empty. Could say clipboard is empty. That at least makes more sense. The song has some crazy audio distortion in it. Didn't love that. I feel like that's in vogue to do sometimes now, like to actually have like weird, what sounds like it must be wrong, like to have weird audio distortion that has to be incorrect. All right, so I'm going to copy this. That does not seem to have done it. Oh, well, obviously I need to update the global state, which I am not doing. So where are our references to clipboard empty? Clipboard empty equals false. So let's replace clipboard empty with a global. Clipboard empty equals true. All right, this should work now. So right now, oh, it's... Why? Why is this start disabled? Or why didn't this start disabled? It should have. It should have started disabled. Oh. This shouldn't be inverted. This bool. All right, so it's disabled to start. Then I play something. I select it. I copy it. Now it's enabled. So now I can click the clipboard. So that's the first step. That was the first step of this process. It's still not great to use, but this will at least work to an extent. I think for a long time having just the one clipboard slot will be fine, but yeah, we can add additional slots later. And it looks okay. It's not great, but it is obviously a clipboard. Hey, Fiskafin09. How's it going? What's weird is that when I have the state like this, I can right-click this, and it doesn't... It just treats it as, like, multiple pastes, which is cool, but that's, like, not how I set up the workflow. So, like, here, if I actually hit Control-V, now it pastes it, and it clears the clipboard, which is kind of not what I want. But at the moment, we don't really have a way of changing the clipboard, so, like, what if I... Yeah. We need a way of switching between the active block tool and the clipboard. So I can go between selecting something, copying it, switching to the active block tool, and then going back to the clipboard. We need to add some ability to do that. Do I use any add-ons to Asprite? I actually don't at the moment. I should. I've tried the Godot Asprite plugins. Those are... I've tried these ones. I've tried Asprite Wizard and Asprite Importers. I didn't like them. I didn't like the workflow for them. So I ended up just kind of... We just work directly in the project folder, and I just keep everything together. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't... I haven't messed around with that. I love that Gramps extensions are right at the top. The goat. Gramps the goat here. What kind of add-ons do you use that you find useful for Asprite, Fiskafine? You just do arts and stuff on Asprite, so you don't think you'll be using add-ons so much? Okay, so you don't either. Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of add-ons I would want. You've piqued my interest a little bit. What kind of art do you do? I mean, obviously pixel art if you're working in Asprite. Is that what brought you in here? You saw us doing some Asprite stuff? Or are you also a Godot dev? We were just making a little clipboard. We're making a little clipboard for our palette, which at the moment just includes these various blocks. Any good Asprite plugin scripts? I know, Rig, that's my question. That's what I'm wondering. You would love to do Godot, but you suck at coding? There are options. But yeah, maybe you'd be better off with like a game maker or something like that. Like game maker. But yeah, right now we have all these tools here. So we can build stuff. Our palette here. And then we separately have a clipboard. So we can build all this stuff with our little tools. And then we can copy this. And now we've got it in our clipboard. And now our clipboard lights up because now we can select the clipboard. And what I don't have set up is the ability to go... So like it should... Copying something to the clipboard should unselect this, the door. And it should select the clipboard. And then you should be able to change that. So I guess when you fill the clipboard, it should select the clipboard and unselect whatever you selected. At the moment, I don't think I can have an unselected... I mean, we can have it here, but it won't make any sense in the code. Yeah, we need to do something about the cutaway, the way the cutaway works when you're doing copy-paste stuff. Oh, this broke. How did this break? Oh. I just spotted an interesting problem. So if we take this and we copy this layer and this layer, and we copy it, and then we paste it one layer down, we actually clear the layer above it. And I understand why we do that, but it is not the behavior that we want. Interesting. We need to think about that. That's the merge block doing something that we don't necessarily want it to do. Fisk, you think there's a plugin that auto makes boxes for you and some color mods, but you don't know about anything else? Oh yeah, there are some of those. Rig, you messed around with some stuff like that too, didn't you? Also, thank you for the follow, Finn. But there's like the A-Sprite isometric plugin. So like if you're doing isometric stuff, there's that isometric box generator. And it's cool. And yeah, Rig, you worked on a version of this too. So there's definitely some good stuff. You would need to be like, you know, needing something like this. And you need to agree with the way they've presented it, which was part of the reason I don't. Thanks for the wisdom, Jake Green. All right, so let's do that next. So when you make a clipboard copy, it will select the clipboard button and unselect whatever button you have currently selected. All right, this is getting more complicated. This is getting a little more complicated. So on pressed input handler dot block pressed. What does the input handler do on block pressed? Block pressed, game in queue, edit. Okay, so you don't make any, you don't scrutinize any of this stuff. So it's probably easier for you to then, we want the block palette to know what's selected. So block palette, so let's make a variable. We'll call it selected. Or maybe we can, is there another word for this? Here? Like, what do we call this here? This is called pressed. Okay, we can call this pressed button. It's going to be a texture button. Or it's going to be a button. We don't know what kind of button it is, but we know it's a button. It might not be a texture button, although it probably is. Let's just presume it's a texture button for now. So we're going to say clipboard. So we have set clipboard button, and then down here we're going to say, so on pressed, block form, block face, input handler dot block pressed. Oh, this isn't oh, this is a signal. So we can say, so we could set this up a couple different ways. We could have the block palette listen to the texture buttons. We could connect that just with signals, would probably be the easiest thing to do. And we could manage that automatically. Because right now these are already... Is there no signal set up for these? How are we telling this? Oh yeah, these aren't set up. Func on pressed. Pressed. Oh, we connect this we connect this live. I see. Press.connect on pressed. Who the hell is pressed though? Oh, that's just the signal. Press.connect on pressed. Pressed. So we could also just have each of these connect to its parent. We could say, well, we already have this signal set up, so we could say input handler.blockPressed. We could also have we could say something like percent block palette dot on pressed this, or self. So we could set it up this way, or we could have it set up properly. We're already doing this like this, where we're registering our press signal and we're signaling out using our own values here and sending some additional. This is fine. We could also call this block pressed. And then here, you just need a function. Func block pressed button. Or we could say block button. We can say pressed button. Well, we would want to say pressed button dot. So we would want to undo the currently pressed button. Is that happening? How is that happening normally? So how do you normally know that? Know whether a button has been pressed or not? Because normally, it's already the case that, like, if I play... Oh, because there's a group. There's a button group. So if I click one of these, the other gets unselected. So maybe I just need to add this button to the button group. And that gets us most of the way there. Groups. Okay, so you're not part of this kind of a group. What kind of group are you part of? Button group. Palette button group. Palette button group. Palette block button. Palette button group. Palette button group script. Get init. Get pressed button dot grab focus. Okay, and then the T-res. What does allow unpress? If true, it is possible to unpress all buttons in this button group. Yes? Actually, no. I don't want to support that right now. So everyone has this. Everyone's part of this group. Can I just do this on the group then? There's an init function, which is like grab focus for an initial one, but I don't understand how. I need to read the docs maybe for a second. I kind of just set up what I wanted with button groups, and I didn't like read. I didn't read much more about how they worked. Button group. Group of base button derived buttons. The buttons in a button group are treated like radio buttons. No more than one button can be pressed at a time. Some types of buttons may have a special appearance in this state. Every member of a button group should have base button.toggle mode set to true. So how does this work? Oh, so there's a press signal emitted when one of the buttons of the group is pressed. Oh, man, I should be doing this from here. Although the button I get back is a base button and it won't have the additional characteristics that I need. Base button, get pressed button, returns the current pressed button. Interesting, interesting. Okay, so somehow under the hood, this is managing the unpressed stuff. This is not intuitive to use. People are generally displeased with how the button group works. Yeah, I agree that it's kind of unclear because it's managing the selection like invisibly. There's nothing there. I'm not having to invoke anything to manage this. It's kind of just occurring. Kind of fascinating. Maybe then what we do instead, if the group button is managing the pressing, maybe we use the signals in the buttons. Because we have a couple signals that are optional. So we have button down, button up. We have toggled. So this is emitted when the button was just toggled between pressed and normal states. Okay, yeah, I can do this. I could hook up the toggled signal because the button's not getting pressed when it's being unpressed by the button group, but it is being toggled, so I could probably listen to the toggled signal. Rig, you know in GDScript you can just check to see if is the type you want and then cast it as XS type. Yeah, that's true, that's true. I could take the base button and then I could get the button as texture button. Dark Messiah, have you added button group to button? Oh, yeah, the button group works. The button group works. We're trying to, from somewhere else, unpress or untoggle one of these buttons. So I guess to do that, well, we're untoggling one and toggling the other. So I guess all we really need to do is say pressed for the button that we pressed. But then the thing is, you need to send a signal. Oh, no, I don't need to send a signal. The button group is working great. How's it going, Dark Messiah? The button group is working fine. The funny thing to me is that it's just working under the hood. It's just like, it's managing this stuff without any... Like, I can just click these, and it unselects the previous one. And so, let's say if the clipboard is selected, and I unselect one of these, and I select something else, that signal needs to go and do some stuff. And something else might unselect the clipboard, like if we do a cut and paste. When we're done pasting, that should probably unselect. There's just a number of cases when I want to control this, and I'm just thinking about how. And it seems like using the toggled signal is one, using the pressed signal is another. Rig, there's a way to send an input event to a control from code. Oh, yeah. I don't doubt that any of this can be done. I'm just deciding how I want to do it. Because currently, the way we're doing presses is we're logging the press with the input handler, and we're sending our information, like our block form and our block face. And then what I want to do here for the clipboard is I want to do in a little additional state, where when we select the clipboard, which we do in code from outside GDScript, I want to make sure that we are selecting the clipboard button as well. So I'm just deciding about how we're propagating that information back up. Yeah, so we're not pressing the button, Dark Messiah, in this case. We're toggling it. Like, no one's actually pressing it. I guess you could just call pressed. No, but this is a signal. Yeah, you're saying I could just say some button pressed equals true? All right. That's a way. Button pressed. If true, the button state is pressed. Means the button is pressed down or toggled. Only works if toggle mode is true. Note, changing the value of button pressed will result in toggled to be emitted. If you want to change the press state without emitting that signal, use set press no signal. Okay, cool. So yeah, setting the button pressed seems to be the most automatic way to do it. We might end up doing a toggle instead, though. But we'll probably just do button pressed. If true, the button state is pressed. Yep. So the thing I want to do is when we copy to clipboard here. So when we copy to clipboard, So copy clipboard. So when we do a copy or cut, we copy to clipboard. I want copy to clipboard to do a thing in the UI. So we need to get this information back out. In the way that we're going to do that is game will do something, because game keeps track of the palette. So the palette, so we can send a function call to the palette. So we can call some function on the palette, like set clipboard button, which we're already doing. And then that can just press the button. We could even rename this to press clipboard button. So let's say block palette here. We're changing this to press clipboard button. So clipboard disabled. Oh, this isn't press clipboard button because we're just telling it whether it's empty or not. We could say, so clipboard.disabled equals clipboard.empty. We could say if not clipboard is empty, we could do we can just say clipboard dot button pressed equals true. I wonder if you mark it as disabled, if it automatically deselects it. So what we do need to support this, we need to add, so we need to go back to our button group. So palette button group. We need to go into the T-res for the palette button group. We need allow unpress, because that's going to happen. That is going to occur if we've got this set up like this. So let's just do it like this for now. Oh, this isn't press clipboard button. This needs to be... This, we can't do it here, because this function is getting called too often. We need to change something like... Maybe we add an input stack or an input queue that's like presses or something like that. Because right now we're just saying the bool clipboard is empty, and when clipboard is, and we're just sending the clipboard state. But just because clipboard isn't empty doesn't mean we want to press the clipboard button. So we need to be sending more information back to the game node than that. We don't want to just be doing this constantly. So we should probably set it up as a queue. We could say output. What kind of output is that? Would that be considered? It's a UI output, I guess, is what it is. Public queue command UI get. So it's just a UI command. And we can process it that way. So we can say, instead of this, we can say while output dot UI dot count is greater than 0. Command equals output dot. Well, it's not a command. It kind of is. It's not exactly a command. I don't want to do it with this clipboard empty thing. I've decided that's not the way to do it. What we need to do Song sounds like your phone alarm. That's the worst because I tend to develop like a Pavlovian like hatred of my my phone alarm. Anytime I hear anything that was close to an alarm that I had at some point, just triggers me so deeply whenever I hear it in the wild. All right, so we use this command structure to send arrays of string arguments across the barriers from the input handler on the Godot side and the game state on the .NET side. It's a simple way to do it. I guess it's good. I guess that is a fine way to do this. Because we could put a node information in here, like the clipboard node, and we know what button we're talking about without actually having to have a reference to the button. And then we can say what we're trying to do. So maybe command is actually the correct thing to send back. Although, oh no, it's just going to be interpreted by the game here. So I don't usually use the commands in this backward direction like this, but it can be done. Is there a better way to do it though? Like here we have the views command because we're just passing along views that need to be propagated back out. Oh, maybe that's how we do it. All right. Let's restate our assumptions here real quick. Because I think I'm getting bogged down a little. So we have our clipboard. It's a texture button. It starts out disabled. It can become enabled whenever we fill the clipboard with something. When we fill the clipboard with something, it gets automatically selected. However, just because it's selected doesn't mean, or just because something's in the clipboard doesn't mean we just want to keep selecting it. So that needs to be something. So I need to send a copy back, or I need to send back the fact that we copied something back so that we can know that we just copied something. So the clipboard is active, is enabled, and has been selected. And then if I go to select one of these other buttons, that's fine. And the clipboard remains selectable until we clear the clipboard of whatever contents are in it. Which is actually unlikely to happen. That's fine. One thing I need to do here. So I need to... I don't love this. This is off by 1. Let's move that up. Re-export it. There we go. Now we have full alignment here. How's everyone doing today, by the way? I'm getting carried away with what I'm working on, but I still want to hear. Reg, you're doing good. That's good. You're done with jamming for a while, right? You're chilling. You're chilling now. Yeah, chilling. All right, cool. I would like to do more jams. I just need to find some that I like. And I need to have the time. So I guess maybe I can't do more jams. Because part of my problem last jam was I didn't take any time off of work for it. And that was problematic. It definitely wasn't the biggest problem, but it was noticeable. All right, so what we're talking about doing here. So I don't actually think we need to do that quite yet. What we do need to do is we need to go the other way. So we need to go backwards. We need to be able to get information to the block palette and then have the block palette. Oh, can I just keep track of the button group? Will that work? Instead of having to keep track of everything else, can I just keep track of the group? That's a preload. It's not exactly what I want. How do I reference the group here? Well, more specifically, where is there anywhere I actually reference the button group? Button group. Extends button group. Init. Void. Get pressed button dot grab focus. You're messing around with Godot's 2D physics? Oh, cool. That seems fun. Seems a lot more manageable than 3D physics. So your button group is this T-res. Okay, so if I reference the T-res, I can probably get the group. But so here we could just say, grab the T-res. And then here I could say something like palette button group dot get pressed button. I don't really need a get pressed button. I need to... All I really need to do is press the clipboard at a certain time. And I don't actually really care about this clipboard is empty stuff. So let's just focus on sending a signal to the block palette when the clipboard should be selected, should be pressed, as well as a button when the clipboard should be disabled. So right now this is disabled. And we don't have to worry about enabling the clipboard because that's going to happen whenever we try to click it. Like whenever we copy something, we will enable it if it's not already enabled, and then we will press it. So disable clipboard. Let's just say disable clipboard button, and we'll just say disabled equals true. Because that's the only way we have to worry about the flow for this, for the moment. Soustab. If you could tell me the phonetic pronunciation of your name, that'd be great. How is it going? I think you came in with a raid yesterday, didn't you? Yeah. Welcome back. It's nice to see some raiders coming back. Dark Messiah, at export variable button group. Oh yeah, I could just add it as an export, huh? I don't know why I ignore export so often. I don't like doing things in the editor. I much prefer to have stuff set up in code. So I just tend to ignore my ability to export things. But that's a good suggestion, Dark Messiah. That's better than preloading the T-res, probably. So then I can just pull it from here. And now we've got it. And actually, I don't need to hold on to the press button. We can just have this. I don't know if we need to interact with the button group at the moment, but if we do, that's going to be the way we do it. Don't worry about the name. I worry about the name. I worry. It's Shaztov. All right. Shaztov. Welcome in. How's it going? How are you doing this fine day? I appreciate you coming back in. After the great raid that we got from Tuning Nerds yesterday. Love the nerds. All right, so we're working on getting the information back in the other direction, though. We're worried about... Right now, let's just focus on grabbing the clipboard, about pressing the clipboard when... We're actually probably not going to need to disable the clipboard very often, unless we provide a specific way to empty your clipboard. Because it's likely you'll just copy something to the clipboard, and then it'll just be in the clipboard until you copy something else to the clipboard. So we really just need to disable it at the beginning. And then maybe under some other certain circumstances. But let's start with just that. So right now we got clipboard, copy to clipboard. So whenever copy to clipboard happens, what we want to do, which I should add, I have some like combinations of things that I put as like sequential function calls. I don't love that. I would rather have them all be like if they're all things that occur when something else occurs, they should be tied to that something else. They shouldn't be like implicitly bound to it. Love the project. You like Godot devs a lot. You're also a Godot dev. Oh, that's awesome. Time to end Unity, at least in 2D indie space. Oh, hell yeah. Unity for like 2D pixel stuff is trash. I mean, it's not trash. It's quite workable. But there's that fundamental conflict of like trying to make a 2D pixel art game in a 3D engine. Like, it's never going to be perfect. But Godot is like perfect for it, right? Yeah, that's great. We have a Discord if you want to ever hang out, share your work, ask Godot questions. Although, obviously, I'm not a great Godot expert. I've only been using it for like a year and a half or so. And I've kind of only been engaging with the parts of it that I need. But there's community members there, and we're trying to grow it. Elite Stomper, how's it going? Welcome in. How are you doing today? All right, so all we really need to do is decide how to tell the game that we've just copied something to a clipboard. Honestly, rather than a queue, let's just say... Let's say copied to clipboard. And instead of a queue, let's just make it a bool. And then here we can say if peak state is equal to game dot is equal to state dot edit. Good. What does the game look like so far? We're working on a tool mainly. You spent over a quarter of your lifespan in Godot. Oh, that's awesome, Shaztov. We're working on kind of an isometric 3D. The gravitas way of saying 5 years. 5 years is a long time. I did 15 years in Unity before switching over to Godot. I wish I had done it earlier. I think we're about to hit ads, but we're working on this kind of isometric 3D FTL-like game, Elite Stomper. And right now we're mainly working on a tool set for building these worlds. And by worlds, I mean ships. So like we have this editor tool here where we can just build stuff out. It's pretty primitive right now. We need a lot more variety to the things that you can build, but we've got a basically a fancy isometric auto tiler. It's pretty much what we got. So we can build out these 3D areas. We can kind of rotate around the world. So we've got some flexibility in how we disable or render this stuff. But yeah, we're working on a framework really. So the game itself is really non-existent yet. It's really just like a set of tools and stuff like that. We're getting underway though. Unity pre-2018 when JavaScript support was there and dark mode was a paid function. Yeah, those were the days. Making my own editor in Godot. Yeah, it's also a runtime editor, so it all runs in-game. It's meant to be like a modding tool, right? And not just a modding tool, but it's meant for me to make the game. But obviously, if it's good, I'm like dog fooding it so that it's going to be good for modders and stuff too. Because as an indie, I don't really have the money or the time to like make as much content as like a AAA studio, so I need help. I need people to get engaged with the systems and want to make their own stuff with it, which I think is doable. All right, so we're just going to do this really stupid. We're going to do this so dumb. This is going to be so dumb. We're going to say if game.output, we don't need the game part because this is a game. If output.copied to clipboard, we're going to say output.copied to clipboard equals false. Why can't I do that? Oh, it has no setter. It very much needs one. We're going to declare that false, and we're going to say palette.call. We're going to call should we just call it the same thing, copied to clipboard? So copied to clipboard. Say clipboard.disabled equals false. And we'll say clipboard dot button pressed equals true. And that should at least get us that initial step where we're selecting the clipboard. Shostov, you're doing the same, but you had to do much more. You changed the render library and much more. Basically a custom engine sort of based on Godot. Oh, cool. That's wild. You think when Godot went 4.0, that's when it got interesting to you, about the time Unity shot themselves in the foot. You make stuff in Blender and you've been trying to learn game dev for a bit, Elite Stomper. And the one thing you know, you're not a programmer at all. And that's okay. They're working on more no-code or nearly no-code solutions or like visual scripting language stuff for Godot. But yeah, maybe Game Maker is probably a little better. Although Blender means you're in 3D, so maybe it's Unreal Engine and blueprints and stuff for you. Shostov, that's interesting. Yeah, we ended up doing. We're not nearly as hardcore as you, but we have done things where we're like. We're in C# here because we're doing the whole simulation layer of the game outside of the scene tree so that all the simulation objects are like very lightweight and we can get a little more speed. If I was really smart, I would have set this up in C++ and like as like GD extensions, but you could tell from 15 years of Unity, I'm more used to C# and I'm more comfortable with C#. All right, let's see if this worked. So what we need to do, we just need to start saying copied to clipboard. Oh, we need to get rid of this. Clipboard empty. We can go back to just having a clipboard empty function here. Or not function, but private. Bool. Clipboard empty. For now, we'll go back to the way we had this before. I think we're going to change the way this works significantly. But let's try to do one thing at a time. So what we're going to do here, so when we're going to say copy to clipboard, we're going to say game, or we'll say copy to clipboard, we'll say word, and we'll say game dot output dot copied to clipboard equals true. So the same thing here. And that should at least get us to select that button. Shaztov, you're trying to make a 2D Souls-like game, but you can switch POV in 3D. But you didn't want to make another gimmick. You made it like how Doom did it in 93, billboarded 2D sprites in a 3D environment. I think that's great. Yeah, we're doing our fake 3D stuff using a ton of tile map layers. Tile map layer was a huge change for 4.3 that really opened up a lot of possibilities for us. At least for Unreal's where you're you don't care what people use really. You'd rather one day make more realistic stuff like Arkish survival stuff. Okay, yeah, Unreal sounds good for you then. Between Blender and wanting to do more realistic stuff. Shaztov, you're trying to get the walking in a 2D pixel art world, but in 3D. You didn't want to rely on filters and stuff. I think that's a reasonable choice. It's a nice retro choice. You're making an editor out of it and changing the rendering methods. Cool. All right, moment of truth here. So what we're going to do is we're going to run. Nothing is working right now, which is interesting. Something weird is occurring. I did something, and it's causing weird things to happen. Oh, this needs to be true by default. That would be the problem. That would be the source of the difficulty. Have made a kaleidoscope editor. Yeah, there's some weird stuff happening. But theoretically now, so if I do this and I whatever. So now we've got this certain tool selected here. And if I grab this and I copy it. All right, it did it. We switched to this. It didn't unfocus. It didn't unselect this, which is interesting. I thought... Let's see what layer that is and what state it's getting in. All right, yeah, we need to change the way the paste works. We have a different workflow in mind for how this goes. All right, so what state was that left in? That was left in kind of a weird state. It was left in the... I think it was left in the focused state. So we need to have that grab focus. when that happens, because that doesn't seem to be happening automatically, which makes sense to an extent. So what we can do is we can say button group. Actually, we could just say clipboard.grab focus. That should be what we needed to do to get that to look right. Elite Stomper, you're trying to learn blueprints to make the logic you need. It's pretty awesome. You just need to think logically how you want stuff to work. Yeah, that's the cool thing about logic, and I think why it's relatively easy to jump between languages and situations. It's really about the underlying logic more than it is about the specific implementation details. All right, so copy. All right, there we did it. We did it. We switched from the other tool to this. What we need to change now is if we go back, we need this thing that's following me around to go away. So if I click this, yeah, things are not. We need the clipboard to basically. Okay, so now we need some stuff to flow back the other way. I wonder if I can do more of this with the input handler. Because I think we are... Shaztov, by the way, insane work. How did you accomplish? A little more work. It's nearly a mesh renderer. Very nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. So it is just straight tile map layers. So I'll show you. So like we have a bunch of levels, which are like the vertical levels of the ship. And then each level has a bunch of layers. And right now we basically have a layer for... Each layer has like a floor component, which is the small part at the bottom, and a wall component, which is the larger part on the top. We call it deck and bulk for nautical reasons that make no sense. And so we basically have a tile map layer per face for each of those. So we have XYZ layers for the deck. We have XYZ layers for the bulks. The doors we can get away with putting all on one layer right now because in the tile set, the doors are just proxies. Because eventually they're going to be actual nodes. But for editing time purposes, they're just billboards. They're just proxies of what the door will be. So when we do things like... So that way when we do the construction, we have this auto tiler that compares many layers to many other layers. It's like an arbitrary layer auto tiler. So it can tell, you know, that the decks are next to each other, so it manages the outlining. It also manages what we call hull types. So like this dark gray area is a symbol that this area is like fully entombed. But if we do this, we can hollow out this room and it becomes a room, you know. And you can tell when you've got the cutaway going, you can tell whether you're chopping through walls or something for visibility reasons. You need to be able to like see into the shapes, right? So yeah, that's kind of how we've been achieving this effect here. We can auto tile doors as well, which I enjoy. We can make it a single door, a double door, triple door. It needs a lot of work, but we also have this selection stuff, which is just another level of the auto tiler. So we can keep track of what we've selected, so we can, you know, copy it. You know, you should be able to, when you have something copied in the clipboard and you go to rotate the camera, maybe it should... We need some kind of rotate where you rotate the thing that you're holding. We need to add that so that you can grab a chunk and decide you want to turn it 90 degrees, and then you can do that. Because right now, all you can do is move the camera. But what we really want is to be able to move the construction. I also need to get the rotational stuff to be right. Right now it's rotating around world origin and not construction origin. Are you aware of binary space partitioning, BSP? I'm aware of it. I did not use it. So I don't understand it enough to like be able to do anything with it. So they used that for Doom, didn't they? You're recursively subdividing a Euclidean space into convex sets using hyperplanes as partitions. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I feel like I didn't need to use anything particularly fancy because everything is axis aligned, but there might be some gains to be had here still by using a more sophisticated system. All right, we'll probably need to wrap it up relatively soon. Sorry for the S's. I know I shouldn't hang on the S's. Shostov, my editor won't have use for it. It's mostly an optimization tool. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we have an entity component system that manages the block state. So we're actually, the state, keeping track of the state of those ships is actually pretty cheap. The auto tiling is also relatively cheap because the auto tiling only cares about things that you can actually see. So yeah, I wouldn't say that this project is particularly optimized, but I consider it very optimizable, which I think is the more important thing to do early. Because if you over-optimize early, you end up not having the flexibility you need to make changes. But you do need to architect everything in a way so that you can optimize it later, right? All right, so what happens when an input comes in and an input is a tool selection? What do we call that? What do we call it when we pick a tool? Palette. Command.arg.palette. Active block tool. We need to know more about the palette that's being selected. Okay, so we're pulling the form out here, and then we're pulling out the face. So what we should do is we should add a thing here where we should say if form is equal to... Oh, right now we parse it out as block forms. Oh, I don't want to do that. Let's say form, variable form. Instead of... Let's just parse the string, right? Oh no, we can just say command.nextStep. We can say if command.next.step is equal to clip. We can go down a different branch. And we can say else. Put all of this in the else for now. So we don't want to try to parse a clip. What we want to do instead, and the active block tool at the moment is still just a single block. At some point, I would like it to be not that. I would like it to be like a bounds. That's just a single entry. Actually, that's maybe the better way to do this in the long run. But whatever. Shostov, you plan to use it, the BSP, you mean? Basically, it gives you the sharp edges on walls. So basically, you plan to directly make pixel art for your assets, but make a high-resolution, soft-edged picture, and let the program reduce its resolution and give it sharp edges and walls. No game, as you know, about uses it for what you're using for. That sounds like a great solution. That sounds really cool. I'm very excited to see that kind of stuff. That's very much in the vein of what I'm doing, which is like pseudo-retro, where we have this like retro aesthetic, but we're using like modern technology to do it. I love that. I love that kind of area of indie game work. Not everything can be Elder Scrolls Oblivion remastered, right? Which is gorgeous. Shostov, you need like two to 3 months to build a demo world with polished combat and animation. 2 to 3 months? That's a very tight timeline. You must be a machine. We've been working on this tool way longer than that. I only have a few hours a day to work, though. Speaking of which, we probably need to wrap up soon. I need to get my affairs in order before Godotcon next week. Which mostly just involves doing a lot of laundry and washing a lot of dishes. And cleaning up some other stuff. I'm very pleased with this clipboard we ended up with today. I'm getting a lot more confident with my art. I noticed that during Ludum Dare as well, and it felt good. It felt good to feel more like I could think of something and draw it. I mean, I had my problems. I had my struggles. But I learned how to draw circles in diametric perspective, so, you know, it wasn't wasted effort. It's gonna come up. It's gonna come up soon. Oh, Shaztov, you've been on this for over a year. Okay, so you need like 2 to 3 more months. That's more like it. That's more like it, Shaztov. I've also been on this for a bit over a year. So that's awesome. Yeah, please. I would love it if you posted us progress in the Discord. I don't know if you hopped into the Discord. We have some new faces in there. English fourth language. Yeah, no worries. No worries. It's all zeros and ones. All right, so the other case we need to handle, and if I can do this, I'll call this a successful day, is we need to disable the clipboard in the game, like in the editor tool, when we've clicked one of the other things. So we need to do that. So we need to make a couple changes for that. So this hover if clipboard empty thing is not sufficient. We need to know what our palette block is. What we need to do is if we receive this, we need to say, so if this next selection is clip, similarly here we need to say active block tool equals block.empty. So this is how we're going to handle it for now in the short term. When we have the clipboard, when we're actively using the clipboard, the block tool is going to be empty. That's the simplest way to do that right now. We will eventually want to rework it so that the block tool doesn't care what it is. It's just like a buffer. And it has contents, but it's not aware of what those contents are. Whereas right now it's very specifically a particular block. A cool idea for merch, all zeros and ones. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to set the active block tool to empty when we set up a copy. And so this is not a sufficient check. What we need to do is we need to say, instead of if clipboard is empty, we need to say if clipboard or if active block tool clipboard is empty or active block tool is equal to block.empty or is not equal to block.empty. Or it's and. No, it's not and. Actually, we don't care about anything except active block tool not equal to block.empty. That might not work, but I think that should give us the behavior we're essentially searching for. So here we're going to say active block tool is equal to block.empty. Now we should probably try to say reveal block at... Oh, we already do a reveal block at the top. Okay, great. So maybe this works? Maybe? I'm hoping this works. Because we gotta wrap it up. We won't be back tomorrow, unfortunately. I have an offsite, an all-day offsite at work that is gonna be tremendously wasting my time. Insofar as I have things that I need to do, and I can't do it. So I'm gonna place this. Actually, I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna select this. Crash. Okay, we crashed. Wait, why did you still try to do this? Form, empty. Command, on step. Edit, tool, palette, both. Why did you try to go this branch? Args, edit, tool, palette, both. Why did that fail? Form, empty. Command. Oh, next step. Oops. It's not next. It's not command.next step. It's command.step. It's this step. I knew that. Because I'm already doing the next step up here when we check for clip. All right, so now we've got our thing in the clipboard. Now we switch to one of these. Okay, now we're back. The only thing is we're not cleaning this up. We need to clean this up. So we actually need to, instead of reveal block at, we need to say, we need to try something else. We could say reveal blocks in. We can just say buffer.aabb buffer. I want to try something else first. I want to say reveal inactive blocks. What does this do? No, we don't want that. We just want this. Hey, Leandro. Sorry, I didn't see your message. SG Live, what's my game about? I will tell you in a second. Let me just check this. Let me just check this real quick. We're doing an isometric 3D version of FTL Faster Than Light. So we're working on a tool right now that will let us build these ships. Right now we're just gray boxing it. We're just gray boxing the tools we need. We can do a bunch of stuff with it already. So let's grab something into the clipboard, copy it. All right, so we've got a copy. You can see it here. And now if I switch to one of the other tools, it should clean itself up and switch tools. So bop. Okay, it didn't clean itself up. Unfortunate. And then if I switch back to this, okay, I can at least switch back to the clipboard. When I try to switch back to my other tool, I can, but it still leaves some trash around. So we just need to clean up the trash. But that's awesome. We can switch between the clipboard and our tool. I don't love the offset that I'm seeing here. We need to fix that a little bit. But that's fine. We can sort that out. Sub to you on YouTube. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Inquisitor, what is this? True programmers for their games in ASM. Oh, assembly? Yeah. I'm not the guy that made Roller Coaster Tycoon. We're working in Godot and C# and all that stuff. False programmers, not false programmers use X. Oh yeah, you guys are having fun. But we're working on a game that's a isometric 3D version of FTL Faster Than Light. We're trying to take chess, aka FTL, which is already perfect in every way, and we're making like 3D chess, which is not as good as regular chess. But we're doing it. We're doing it. We're going to try to do an isometric 3D version. So we're making our tools, which will let us build out these ships. And that's kind of what we've been working on. All right, so we have one more thing I want to fix today, and then I think I'm happy with it. We need to... Oh, I see. I'm just gonna move this up. But how are you guys doing? I appreciate you coming in, especially for if you're here for the first time. Maybe I do need clip to be a block form. Or I need to change the way I process these. I really do think I need to change the way the active block tool works. Python is harder than assembly. That's too funny. I did talk to someone. Oh, Shaztov, that's you. That's you. SG Live is you. That's great. You stream on YouTube? Oh, sick. Go to channel. Let me hit you with that subscribe back. I'll catch you live sometime. All right, so we grab this, we pull the selection, we copy it, and now if I switch to one of my other palettes, this should just go away, this big floor thing. Bop. Got it. Here's the one problem. For one frame, it's at the wrong spot. So we can do this, and then I go up here, and then bam. For one frame, it's slightly wrong. So I need to fix that, but that's a relatively minor thing. The fact that we can switch back and forth between our clipboard is pretty great. That's a nice change. But yeah, sometimes it shows up in the wrong spot for the first frame, which I don't love. It seems to not be doing it very often, so I'm not quite sure why we sometimes run into that. What if I do this? I do this. Yeah, okay. I can't recreate it, so I'm gonna say this is sufficient. The fact that we can switch back and forth from our clipboard is pretty great. And then the one last thing I think we need to do is if the clipboard gets emptied, because right now this empties the clipboard. Oh no, it doesn't anymore. Sick. That's how I don't want it. I didn't want it to anyway. So now we can just keep pasting. I know this is like the most boring example. I didn't care enough to like make an interesting example. I do need to work on that merge block situation we were looking at earlier. Oh, okay. So I just switched tools and I had the eraser on. Does the eraser do anything? Oh, it does. The eraser is causing a problem when we're in clipboard mode. And it's actually kind of hard to tell when you're in eraser mode. All right, that's okay. These are some minor things we can work on. You private your streams, you don't get time to make videos. You plan to release some art time-lapse and a devlog soon? Okay, cool. I'll see that. I'll see that when you post that. All right, well, this has been a great stream. I thought it was going to be kind of quiet today, but actually quite a few people turned out. And that's very nice to see. I do have to run though. I have to go get some laundry done and get back to my day job. But yeah, we won't be on tomorrow, unfortunately, but we will be back Friday and Saturday. So we'll keep working on this Friday and Saturday. You just got here. I'm so sorry, Sandy G. Thank you for the follow. We are live from this, and then from now going back about 3 hours in that time frame, which is about 11 to 2 Pacific time. That's usually when we're live. Tuesday through Saturday, we're working on our isometric FTL-like in Godot. Shostov, it's 3 a.m. there. Go to sleep. Raid Trevoron? Okay, we can raid Trevoron. I feel like we raided Trevoron like... Oh, no, we didn't raid Trevoron yesterday. We did it before. I'm down. Oh, we actually are going to raid Exo Drifter. Sorry. I raided Trevoron a few days ago, but Exo Drifter I've never been able to raid. And they're in one of my local game dev groups. I want to check out their thing. They're a Godot dev. Okay, why? Let me raid Exo Drifter, please. There we go.
Maximum warp.
Maximum warp, smooth into second. All right. As usual, if you're here and you got the raid, ship them if you got them. If you don't got them, maybe consider getting them. Yeah. For the nth time, no stream tomorrow because I'm at an offsite for work all day. Yay. But I'll be back Friday and Saturday. And then next week, Godotcon. Woo! All right. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope to see you again soon. Until then, I'll see you next time. Bye.